Alright, welcome back. So in the last video I showed you guys how to take your slabs, prep your slabs, and then put your textures in and cut your forms out. Now we're going to start building. So I've got two different things going on here. The only difference, folks, is one of the slabs I put texture through the whole thing. And the other slab, I was a little bit more specific. I put one big one on the lid as well as the base, and then did a strip of texture on my wall. The other slab that I prepped, I put texture into the whole thing and then cut my pieces out. So I'm going to go ahead and begin showing you how to build these boxes. You have to deal with the base first, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and flatten this. It was stored in a curve that way. And I'm going to smooth my edges. So voy a alisar las orillas. You can do this with a wet finger or you can do it with a damp sponge. Either way is good. Okay, then I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to bevel. So watch carefully, folks. Vamos a cortar las orillas. I put my finger right here at the bottom and I take my knife and I angle it diagonal. Este cuchillo está diagonal. Vamos a cortar este lado so you can see now that there's here. Take this whole strip and flip. Smooth this edge again and do the same. Finger at the bottom, diagonal, same degree, and cut. Diagonal en los dos lados. Asegúrese que estas orillas están alisadas. So now I'm ready to build. I'm going to take my serrated, scooch a few things over, take my serrated rib, and I'm going to build my wall first. So I'm dipping it in water. Adentro el agua y se raya los dos lados, so score both sides really deeply. You see how deep that is scored? Now I'm going to stand my wall up and I'm going to overlap those two ends so that they meet. And I'm going to go ahead and push them together and close them up. I'm overlapping, so one is on top of the other. Get this other camera so you guys can see the other angle, because I think that is important to see how I'm attaching these beveled edges. So, see, just be patient with me while I change my cameras here. There we go. Alright, so I'm changing my camera so you can see the edge. There we go. So you see that I've overlapped. Oop. Focus you. There we go. So one went in front of the other like this, boom. And they're overlapped, and now I'm pushing. Pushing from the inside, van a empujar de adentro y afuera. And then I'm smoothing this top connection. I'm going to smooth this whole wall, this edge. Alisando las orillas y dándole vuelta. So there's the connection again, right there. Boom. And make sure that's pushed together nicely. Smooth on the top. And now I'm going to start smoothing this inside seam. So you can see that seam right there. Support the outside and start smoothing. You want to make sure that you do not see this connection at all. So we're smoothing horizontally, and I'm going to smooth vertically, and until it is totally invisible. I'm even wiping it a little bit with my damp sponge. Okay, so we're looking pretty good there. Estoy combinando para que no se vea donde estaba cortada esta pared. All right, flipping it again. You can see that seam a little bit on the bottom still. So horizontal, vertical, and sponge. Estamos alisando horizontal, vertical, y con una esponja. Okay, so that looks pretty good. There's no seam on there. Now it's time for me to put my base on. I can see that where I connected my seam, there's a little bit of texture missing. So if I wanted to, I can push a little texture in there, and I will in a few minutes, but not right this second. Actually, maybe I will. So I'm going to go grab my texture, and it's the same texture I used before. All right. So I'll show you how to disguise that a little bit. I'm just going to push a little of that texture, supporting the inside so that it's not super bald right there in the center. So it didn't come out as deep as the rest, but I think it's okay. All right, so some of you guys might not have a top and a bottom. I do, because my texture has a direction. So I know that this is the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and score again. And remember, you want to score deeply. This works really good if it's on a banding wheel. Good idea to put this on a banding wheel for sure. I'm going to add a little bit of water as my slip. Get the bottom of the box. I like my texture on the outside. So I'm going to score all the way around. Don't go too far off the edge because it's going to be more cleanup later on for you. Vamos a rayar la tapadera. Cuando rayamos tenemos que rayar hondo. Okay. Use water as slip and attach. So I like to flip that over and then set my box on top. You want to go all the way around, making sure that your wall edge fits your base nicely, all the way to the edge. Go all the way around. That is very, very, very important for this box to sit properly. Once you've got it sat properly and evened out, I'm going to start smoothing with my finger. I'm also pushing the wall down so it connects to my base. I can use my rib. I just don't want to erase my texture. As I am using the rib all the way around, I'm using my inside hand to make sure that this is guided on properly and it fits good. Okay, I'm using my finger, get some smoothing done here. And then I take my slip brush and I go around and around and around and around the inside. That's going to seal my interior. Very, very important to get that 100% sealed up. You can also run a rubber tip tool in here if you want. Estamos cerrando la conexión con una brocha y un poquito de agua. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. Fully sealed up on the inside. I see a little part right there. Needs a little bit more. Otherwise, I think we're good. Alright, now the lid. Take my lid. Some of you guys, if you have rolled out your clay that same day, you're not going to put your lid on yet. You're going to let this dry. If you put on your lid and your lid is too wet, it's going to sag in the middle. So be very careful with your patience. You got to be patient. Scoring the rim again. Make sure it's nicely scored. Adding some slippy water. And attaching. Remember, don't put your lid on if your clay is still wet. It'll sag. Here it goes on the top. I'm going to flip it. And don't really seal it until it's 100% fitting. So sometimes I got to pull my finger in there and pull it out. There we go. Lift it and pull it out. Make sure it's nice and round. Give it some pressure. And start sealing. We're going to do the same that we did to the top. Alright, I'm going to seal this up really well with both my finger and my rib, and we'll come back and I'll show you how to cut the top off.